You know, sometimes life gets a little bit much.
I don't know at this point, I don't know.
There are times when life gets especially stressful and hectic, and despite our best efforts, self-care doesn't seem to be working as well as it should. I struggle to get out of bed, I'm not replying to my messages, I'm behind on my to-dos. Sometimes I simply forget how to function, and I'll wake up on mornings asking myself, like, how do you even do this human thing? How do you do life? So I've attempted today to put together a little self-care guide and just sharing with you my approach to self-care and what I found works for me. Hopefully this can help anyone who feels a bit off track or who needs a bit of guidance and orientation. So I learned something very interesting while working with my therapist recently. You can actually split self-care into 5 different areas: physical, mental, social, spiritual, and professional self-care. Making sure that I feel good physically is so crucial to my mental health. So whenever I'm not feeling well, I'm feeling unbalanced or emotionally dysregulated, new term I learned, also very helpful, I check these 4 areas first. We have eating well and drinking, getting enough sleep, and implementing daily movement. I try my best to eat 3 consistent meals a day. So when I do have capacity, I try to sit down at the beginning of the week, plan a few things. I'm really lucky because I can just listen to my body and I feel like it kind of tells me what I want to be eating this week, like what I need more of. I'll just have phases where I have different cravings. Like for example, at the moment, I'm really craving like fresh fruits. So I'll just like go and buy some more of that. And of course, in order to make sure I have food at home, I need to go grocery shopping. Ideally, I go every week/week and a half. Yeah, I really just try to adapt to whatever like phase of life I'm in. Like if I'm more stressed and working a lot, I just don't really have capacity to do a whole like week of shopping.
Y'all know exactly I would be the person who would say.
And other things I like to rely on are, for example, my uni cafeteria, which is such a blessing. Unfortunately, it's closed at the moment because we're on break. Just really easy to show up to school. I can just grab a plate and eat and like not have to worry about it at all. Another thing I like to do is just make sure I always have snacks in my bag. Sometimes I just forget to eat, or I need a little bit of sugar or whatever, and I'm out in the city, and it's just sometimes a lifesaver to have. I don't really know how to give advice here because I just really like drinking water. I guess I've just somehow managed to establish a habit of it, but I try to just have some in my bag whenever I can. I mentioned my therapist earlier, and I actually started working with her when BetterHelp reached out to me last year to collaborate, and they're also sponsoring this video. So the reason why I wanted to start therapy is that I'd actually been wanting to go for quite a while. I just kept getting burnt out, getting sick, I was constantly stressed. And of course, all my anxieties. I have so many anxieties. For me, it was hard to even just find a therapist because in some places, like Berlin where I live, it can take weeks up to months just because of the high demand. And this is one of the aspects that I find make BetterHelp service so valuable, is because they provide online therapy that's just way more accessible. So to get started, you basically fill out a questionnaire and specify what you want to work on, and they will match you with a therapist that's most suitable to you, in most cases within 48 hours. So that was my experience, and for the time I worked with her, it was so helpful and nice to have someone check in on me every week. Together, we worked on establishing more structure in my life. By, for example, creating a week schedule. I'm going to mention that in a later point. So if there's something that's been weighing on you and you would like to overcome, I definitely recommend checking them out. I have a link down below, betterhelp.com/Nay, or you can choose Nay's World and get 10% off your first month of therapy with them. And they also have student discounts. Okay. I am so grateful to BetterHelp for supporting my channel and making these videos possible. I feel like we also hear this all the time, make sure you get 8 hours of sleep. It's super important to our physical but also mental health. Getting enough and consistent and good quality sleep. My ideal wake up time is around 7/7:30 a.m. Girlies, this means that you want to be in bed by 9 p.m. okay? And this is something I've had to learn. Like, waking up early really starts with all the prep you do the day before. And I've mostly just learned to prioritize sleep above everything else, like work stuff. I'll skip like friend hangouts because it's just not worth it. Sleep is important. Getting a sleep mask, it's been such a game changer for me. I've just noticed how much better my quality of sleep is. I just noticed that I feel so much more rested when I wake up in the mornings. I've noticed that doing this has helped a lot with my anxiety, and especially like connecting my mind to my body when my thoughts are racing and I just can't function. For example, doing a bit of yoga or going for a run helps so much. And yeah, I try to just keep this playful as much as possible. Sometimes I will just try and put on some music right when I get up and dance through the house. And recently I've been enjoying doing these little qigong videos. I love the person who makes them. I just they're so positive, and it helps to start my day off on a good note, The second thing I mentioned is psychological/emotional self-care. Just taking really good quality breaks and do things that bring you joy. I think personally my biggest problem is I struggle with time management. I just struggle to plan and contain tasks within the week, so then that usually spills over into my free time. So I'm still working on this a lot, to set boundaries and actually take time off. So a really big one is spending time in nature, and personally I really want to improve this area. Every time I leave the city and I go to nature, simply by shifting my environment, I notice how my anxiety reduces by maybe 40%, and I just feel so much better and calmer. And it's just really crazy. I have to put in so much work in a city to feel good, and I can have the same effect and more by just being more in nature. Of course, going to parks is really great. Berlin is really lovely because it is such a green city, but I would like to try to have more good quality trips, go out to the forest or to a lake. Expressing your feelings in a healthy way. I've really found writing so helpful to understand what's going on inside, and kind of just being able to externalize it and have perspective, look at it from a distance, not just keep it all up in here. That's been really helpful. There are phases where I'm not vibing with words, and it's just a lot of heavy emotions. I don't know if y'all saw my last video. Especially in the summer, I just deal with really big waves of emotions, especially sadness and grief, and then just sitting down in front of a piano and just getting to match what I feel in sounds, or playing guitar. It's really just indescribable how much good it's done for me. Moving on to number 3, social self-care, also known as having a social life. So it's taken me quite a while to figure out how much social interaction I need in a week. At the moment, I really like planning something in every 1 to 2 days, so that could be getting coffee with a friend, hanging out, doing a co-working session. I just really need people in my life. It's how I recharge, it's how I relax. It also took me a while to learn how to start and also maintain friendships now that I'm older. And I've learned that It's fine to be interested in a person and want to be friends with them, and you can just be bold, text them, reach out. It's literally not that deep. Like, I overthought this so much. Have one hangout, see if it's a vibe, and then if it's not, you don't have to see them again, you know? You got this, and talk to the people you think look cool, like, for real. I've really noticed how much meditation and mindfulness, and I want to do like a whole video about this because it's like so important to me. It's really had a big impact in my life. And now I'm gonna be doing one of my favorite parts of my day, about 20-minute meditation. Sitting down and just focusing on mindful breathing allows for everything to settle. It's almost like being, you know, underwater and you've all like the sand and things swimming around, and if you don't move, it just settles. And I just have much more clarity. Like, it becomes much clearer to me, like, what's actually important in my life and what I want to focus on. And I thought I'd share a resource I found recently that helped me to learn more about mindfulness and meditation, and that's Plum Village. They have a YouTube channel and they also have an app, and I really enjoy listening to their podcast. It's been like a really lovely side to explore, and I just feel much more connected, like, to myself and to the world. I've started helping out and volunteering in some of my local groups, and I've had the most incredible encounters with wonderful people, teaching each other, learning from each other, and trying to make the world a better place together. Moving on to the last one, which is 5 professional self-care. Something I used to do that I actually would love to pick up again is I used to do like weekly debriefs. At the end of each work week, I would just like fill out a little questionnaire I put together for myself in Notion, and just reflect on like what worked well, what didn't work well, what exactly am I working on? Does it feel meaningful? Does it feel interesting? Does it feel rewarding? I feel like I'm learning something while I work. Like, am I improving my skills? Yeah, just maybe having like a systematic way to assess like how things are going roughly. And then of course the big one for me, which is maintaining balance between my professional and personal life, also known as work-life balance, okay? Yes, so maybe I have a bit of a special case because, again, I have been freelancing for basically all of my professional life, and also started when I was like 18, so there was just a lot of stuff I had to figure out, like life-wise and also professional-wise, and also my work and my life are so intertwined because I do like creative work and I do make art. Yeah, so that whole thing is like a tangled knot I've been like trying to untangle, and like it's just been taking a lot of experimenting, like figuring out what I need to be able to work well, my like boundaries and like how I work, so I can manage my time better and plan better. And this is so much about getting to know myself and how much time and energy I need in order to complete a task, and then also understanding like how much time I'll need to recharge afterwards. Rest is productive, okay? If you do sports or go to the gym, you understand that resting is just as important as putting in your hours. If we never take breaks, we don't have time to like process and like get new space, recharge, get back all the energy, and feel fresh to go back to work. It's really good, guys. Make sure to rest. I think it's important to note that probably the best thing to do is to try and have a balance of all of these things. That's when I personally feel the best. And that, of course, is the big challenge of life, balancing everything, and that is adulting for you. It's important to realize that learning this takes a lot of time, and it's a very individual journey for each person. because we all have very different needs, we all have very different looking lives. If we tried to implement all of these little things each day individually, that could be really overwhelming. But that's why it can be really helpful to set up structures and systems that kind of integrate these into our daily lives and help to make it much easier to maintain all of these different areas of self-care. So one thing I did that helped a lot was creating a week schedule. So I actually sat down with my therapist and we put this together, and very specific to my personal schedule, like including uni and everything, like on what days I got up at which time, like how much work I did each day. And we especially focused on planning in like rest times, or just like time when I could do whatever I want, and we called this like blocks of nay time. You could also, for example, and I've done this in the past, like plan in on what day you go and do your grocery shopping, when you do your laundry. Again, you can make this super playful, customize it, make it colorful, draw it by hand, do it online, print it, hang it up. And that leads me to my next point, which is just hang up reminders. I have reminders all over my house. And again, this is really nice for me to just create more mental space, because if I'm trying to hold onto that mentally, my brain will have to keep pushing it back and then bring it forward. And like, I just feel like that creates anxiety for me. I mean, I do edit my videos there sometimes, and I have a reminder that says, "It's not that deep, bro," because I overthink during editing way too often. Just a little reminder to be patient and understanding with ourselves, because, you know, this is all of our first times doing life. We're all learning, and I really do believe that life is a practice, and I think framing it this way has really helped to build like more compassion for myself. You will get there eventually, and yeah, I hope this video was helpful to you. It was really helpful for me to make it because it made me think about a lot of these things. I hope to make more videos. Guys, I'm just struggling so much with perfectionism. Okay, but we are overcoming her. We will talk soon. Bye bye.